What would you do if the worst tragedy imaginable handed you the one thing your struggling sister desperately wanted? In today's story, the protagonist is grieving the devastating loss of his best friends, and his selfless choice to step up for their orphaned son leads to a shocking confrontation that will test the limits of family and compassion. My sister, Olivia, who is 35, and her husband, Ben, have been grappling with the heartache of infertility ever since they married 12 years ago. They have poured their hearts, souls, and finances into trying to conceive, exploring every avenue from cutting-edge medical treatments to spiritual guidance, but sadly, nothing has worked. Now that Olivia is in her late 30s, they've begun to explore adoption. However, that journey has also been painfully slow, as their financial situation is precarious after the many costly rounds of fertility treatments. I can only begin to fathom the depth of their struggle, and I truly sympathize with her. But the immense stress of their situation has undeniably put a strain on our relationship. Meanwhile, my husband, Liam, and I, we're both 30, are navigating a different, more sudden kind of pain. 2 weeks ago, our world was shattered when our best friends, Ethan and his wife, Sophia, were killed in a horrific car accident. They left behind their beautiful son, Leo, who isn't even 2 years old yet. The grief is a physical weight, so sudden and heart-wrenching that we've had to withdraw from many people, including my sister and her husband. Our entire focus right now is on ourselves and on Leo. Custody of him has fallen to us. We are both his godparents, have been deeply involved in his life since birth, and tragically, Ethan and Sophia left no will and have no other immediate family who could take him in. We've decided to adopt Leo as soon as we can emotionally handle the process. Liam and I never actually planned on having children, and even if we had, this is absolutely not how we would have ever wanted it to happen. This situation is born from tragedy, far from any ideal, but for Leo's safety and future, we began the adoption process yesterday. We shared the news with our extended families and friends, primarily to let them know that we would need to remain withdrawn for a while longer to handle this immense life change. I knew, with a sinking feeling, that my sister and Ben would have something to say about it. I steeled myself for a few heated text messages or maybe an angry voicemail. He steeled himself for a few angry messages, never imagining that his sister's jealousy was about to drive her to do something so monstrous it would shatter their relationship forever. What I was not prepared for was them appearing on our doorstep. They were crying, their faces contorted with a grief that wasn't for our lost friends, but for themselves. Olivia wailed about how unfair it all was, how we were just given everything they had ever wanted. She accused us of not deserving to be parents because we hadn't suffered the way they had. In that moment, I saw a side of my husband I had never seen before. Liam is typically a mild, gentle soul, but the weight of our grief and the shock of this confrontation had stretched our patience past its breaking point. He stood up, his voice low and shaking with rage, and told them to get off our property. We kicked them off our porch, but before Olivia left, I looked her straight in the eye and said, "Since our pain inconveniences you so much, I won't have you around me or my family anymore." I know she made a scene as they left, and now our families are buzzing with opinions. We've turned our phones off, unable to face the barrage of messages, not knowing who is on our side and who is cursing us. My husband and I are drowning in pain and grief, and it's impossible for us to be objective right now. Did we go too far? As I sat there in the silence of our house, the quiet hum of the refrigerator the only sound besides my own ragged breathing, my sister's words echoed in my head. Unfair. She thought this was unfair to her? My best friends were gone forever. A little boy who we loved like our own had lost his entire world. That is the definition of unfair. She had the gall to stand on our porch, amidst our mourning, and make this tragedy about her own desires. This revealed Olivia's greatest fatal flaw. Her grief over her own infertility had become so all-consuming that it had blinded her to anyone else's pain, twisting what should have been empathy into bitter, misplaced resentment. Her desperate need for a child had become so distorted that she looked at this horrific loss, our loss, Leo's loss, and saw it only as us being blessed with something she was denied. Later, sifting through messages of support online, one comment from an adopted person cut through the noise. They pointed out that for Olivia and Ben, adoption was their last resort after trying everything else to have a biological child. Any child they adopted would, in a way, be their final option, not their first choice. But for us, it's the opposite. Leo is our first option. We never planned for kids, but we are sacrificing the future and the lifestyle we had envisioned specifically for him. We are choosing him, not as a last-ditch effort to become parents, but because he needs us and we love him. We are still grieving. The house feels impossibly empty without Ethan and Sophia's laughter, but it's also filled with the small sounds of Leo, a constant, living reminder of the love they brought into the world. My sister thinks we were given what she wanted, but what I want, what I would give anything for, is to have my friends back. Ultimately, this story teaches us that true parenthood is born from selfless love and sacrifice, not from a sense of entitlement or a desire to fill a void in one's own life. When someone is drowning in their own pain, do they get a pass for hurting others? Or is there a line that should never be crossed, no matter the circumstances? Let us know your thoughts in the comments.